Hi, welcome back. It's day 5 for my Write a Novel in 30 Days challenge, and also coincidentally day 5 of National Novel Writing Month. Like I said, it is just a coincidence that I happen to be doing this in November. It just seemed to fall at that time. So if you're watching this any other time of the year, it's not just a nano-specific set of videos, is what I want to say. So today's goal is to try and get another 5,000 words. So I am a little bit behind on my words already. And, you know, it's okay. I don't want that behind word count to get any bigger, really, as long as I just keep going. It happens. Life happens. I've just had a lot of things going on this last week. And, that's just working as an entrepreneur. Like, things go on all the time. And I've just got to do them. And it's trying to fit the writing around it. And it seems that the more books you get out, the busier you actually get with everything else around your writing. And so I certainly find that, but it's all right. So today I'm going to do some redrafting of the chapters I've done. I had a read over of, I think it's my 3rd chapter. So this is where Alex Rogan goes to the crime scene, and it's probably the hardest bit to write because you have to get the procedure correct. And obviously I can't base it on things that I watch on television because I also watch a lot of American television, and obviously English police procedure is a lot different to the American police procedure. Even just things like down to our police have warrant cards, whereas in America they have badges. And so it's just knowing those details. I do have this. Don't know if it's coming backwards. I've been reading it, and it's the Crime Writer's Guide to Police Practice and Procedure by Michael O'Brien. And it's been very good, and it's all based on UK stuff, so it's helping me get it right. So I reread the chapter that I'd written and decided it didn't fit right with what this says as to actually happens at a crime scene. So I went back and I tried to add all those details that I was missing, and it just kept changing the chapter. So I thought, no, I'm going to print this off, delete it, use the chapter that I'd written as notes to write a new and correct chapter. And my other plan today is to get on with where Rogan goes to interview the victim's mother and kind of like get clues as to who to go next. Because one of the things I've learnt from studying crime in general and detectives, that the best way to solve a crime is usually to get to know the victim and to get to know their lives. So that's going to be kind of Rogan's slogan, is that's how he starts solving crimes, is he finds out who the person is. And usually, because most people are actually statistically murdered by people they know, hopefully it will dig up the person who did it in my victim's life. I also realised, with it being the 5th of November, apart from it being Bonfire Night here in the UK, if you don't know what Bonfire Night is, it's where we weirdly celebrate an act of basically Guy Fawkes went to go and blow up Parliament and court, and so we weirdly celebrate that, and it's called Bonfire Night, and so there's lots of fireworks and bonfires. But apart from the 5th of November being that, I also realised I haven't actually planned my month out. So I do a loose plan across 90 days, and I've been doing like a month by month plan because I just find it easier to stay on track that way. So I kind of have 3 goals and then a list of things that I want to do to reach those goals, and then every week it's kind of broken down into a to-do list it's kind of like, I've got the giant goal and I've broken it down into small bits, and then I've broken it down into bite-sized pieces. And so that is what I need to do, is I need to get my planning out and put all that together. So that's going to be on for today as well. And the reason is I know obviously I'm challenging myself with this 30 days worth of writing, and writing has to be a priority always, but for this challenge writing really has to be a priority. And because I know I have that in my head, that I have to focus on my writing, I'm without a plan, because I am a planner, and according to my Clifton Strengths profile, part of my personality is that if I don't have a plan, I do go off track, and it's so true. So I need to put a plan together of what things I need to do this month, and then break it down through the weeks, just so that I'm doing other stuff other than the writing, and that when I'm doing admin work, I'm not just being busy, but I'm actually doing stuff that are taking me to where I want to be with my career. So that's also going to be on the agenda today. But this leads me into one of the things I wanted to talk about today is, and if you're doing Nano, or any kind of writing challenge, trying to write a book in a month, or even just trying to write a book in like a deadline, it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months for you. I just wanted to kind of give some tips, and I'm probably going to make a TikTok about this later. If you don't follow me on TikTok, I'll put my link below it's basically just a writing tips page channel. But yeah, so my tips for this is to firstly have a plan. And I don't mean that you have to sit down and have an outline or have to be a plotter, you know, in that traditional sense, but have a plan of where you want your story to go. Like, I know for writing this first DCI Alex Rogan book who the killer is and where I want him to go. So I have a rough idea in my head of the people, the points he needs to meet. I've got a plan in my head of who are going to be the red herrings in the story, where he's going to kind of bark up the wrong tree. So while I haven't got an outline and all these plot cards and things that people have, I do have a plan from getting through my story. But not just even have a plan for your story, have a plan for yourself as well. So maybe planning when you're going to write, how long you're going to write, how many words you're going to write. Like for me, I'm going to try and write and publish an entire novel in the 30 days. So that means I can't be writing for the whole 30 days because I've got to edit and publish it. So part of my plan is that I have to meet specific word targets by specific days to keep myself on track. So that's my plan. One of them for me is using a progress tracker. Now I have an Excel document, and basically it has every day of the year divided up into months with a word count goal for each month, a word count goal for each day. You don't have to do as that. If you're doing Nano, you can use their tracker. If you are doing Nano, then your word target goal daily is 1,667, not 5,000 like mine. But I find having some way to track my progress helps me. It's like I get excited to fill it in and to reach those achievements, and especially at the 5,000 and 10,000 and for, you know, the markers with your writing. So I find using a progress tracker really helps me to keep on track and stay motivated, because that's my personality type and it works for me, and I think it works for a lot of people. If you've never tried one, try it yourself and see how you go with it. Another tip is avoid negativity or criticism, especially in the early days of your book. So if you are going to show someone your early writing, and when I say early writing I mean the first draft, make sure it's somebody who's not going to critique it as if they're reading a finished product, because that can be super disheartening. So if you give somebody like your first 3, 4, 5 chapters of a book and they criticize it as if they're expecting this perfectly polished thing and it's your first draft, you may know it's your first draft, but you're still going to take all that to heart. You know, I'm lucky and I have a reader who will literally just read whatever I write, and she will see beyond the typos, she'll see beyond the errors. If there's a major plot thing, she might point that out just to make sure I've got it. But other than that, she does read it as a first draft and just enjoys the story. So just avoid any kind of negative criticism around your story in the early days. It's good to bounce your ideas and, you know, if you're stuck somewhere, go and chat to somebody and see if they can help you. But if you know somebody who's going to critique your early draft and you know that's going to throw you off, don't do that to yourself. And the other one I'm going to say is don't be negative to yourself. So I like to read a lot, and that's great. And I can sometimes find that I've got into that. My book isn't as good as this book that I'm reading. My writing isn't as good as this person's. I don't have a voice as great as this person. And that's not helpful at all. And we do it to ourselves. I think we kind of judge our first drafts off people's finished published books. And then these finished published books are like big ones. Like if you compare your first draft, I don't know, to a book by Stephen King that's published, you're setting yourself up for failure and feeling demotivated straight away, because there's no way your first draft's going to be anywhere near as polished as one of his books. And so watch your own negative internal voice with your writing and just try and be gentle with yourself. And just, you know, if you do find yourself saying negative things about your work, ask yourself, would you say this to another writer? So another tip is preventing burnout. So I've talked a lot about this on my channel in the last couple of videos, not the 30-day challenge ones, but videos in general. And burnout happens basically when we run out of energy and try and push beyond it, and then just keep pushing beyond it until our brains kind of go, this is not happening anymore, and as if it goes on strike. So doing any kind of intense writing for a deadline, for a challenge, for National Novel Writing Month can make you just super focused on the writing. And I know for me, it can put me in a kind of obsessive phase, but that can lead you to burning yourself out. If you feel yourself getting tired and you genuinely, truly don't have the energy to not write, and I don't just mean that you're procrastinating and can't be bothered, but you really are tired, you know, maybe you've got a full-time job and you've just done a 16-hour shift and you've come home and the kids are playing up and you're just absolutely wiped out, take a day off. It's totally okay. And so these are just some tips of mine, and I'm going to end it there because the battery light on my camera is flashing. So I'm going to go and write, try and get my 5,000 words and plug this camera into charge. But yeah, I hope those tips helped you, and I shall see you in a few hours, hopefully with an updated word count. See you later. Hello. Well, sorry about the hair and the mess. It always looked worse every bloody video, but I'm trying to grow a pixie cut out and it's just like, yeah. Anyway, so update. Do you know, it doesn't look as dark as it actually is. It's blowing a storm and it's absolutely awful, but I don't know if it's showing or if you can hear the rain. If you can, I'm really sorry. Anyway, update. I only managed just over 2,500 words today because I had other things that I had to do that had to take priority. We've got some orders to get out and they've got to get done first before I do anything else, because, you know, there's people waiting on them, and there was just stuff, and it was just one of those days, which I seem to have more often than not. I also did not get to sit down and do all my planning that I wanted to do, and to be honest, I'm too tired, so I'm probably not going to do that today. I'm going to try and do it tomorrow. But yeah, 2,500 words. It's not bad. They were good words and they felt good, and I suppose that's better than nothing. But yeah, so I shall update you tomorrow for day, I don't even know what day I'm on, 6, I think. Anyway, see you tomorrow.